The lights are on for Tap In, Speak Out, and today we're joined by Abby Shiels, Dublin's #1, two-time All-Ireland champion, 2023 All-Star, and Zoocar Golden Glove winner for that semi-final save that lit up the season. She debuted for Dublin Seniors in 2021, but the journey started long before that. A full forward with Lucan Sarsfields, part of a hugely successful underage group, and a soccer goalkeeper with Lucan United, who won a Gainer Cup and trialled for Ireland at underage. That switch from outfield to in goal at minor changed absolutely everything. And since then, it's been systems, standards, serious resilience, and picking up a lot of cups. Today, we'll dig into competing at the highest level, the sacrifices behind everything she's done, how she handles setbacks, playing under pressure on the world's biggest stage in Croke Park, balancing elite sport with being a teacher, and the legacy she wants to leave behind for the next generation. I'm delighted today to welcome Abby Shiels to the Tap In, Speak Out podcast. This one is for anybody looking for some inspiration. Abby Shiels, you're very welcome to the Tap In, Speak Out podcast powered by TAPiTAG. We're delighted to have a two-time All-Ireland winning champion sitting here with us. Abby, I'm going to start this off. I want people to really get an understanding of who you are as a person and the journey that you've been on, from the girl who started playing football years ago to the All-Ireland winner and the All-Star winner, the All-Star nominee for 2025. I wanted to get the understanding of what it's like to play at a really elite level of sport. And I know we're going to get a really good insight of that today. So Abby, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Mark. I'm delighted to be here.
Where did it all start?
12th Lock, Lucan Sarsfields.
Yeah. What a club.
What a club, yeah. Honestly, I've been playing since the nursery, so it's something I've known no difference since I was 4 or 5 years old. Between all the sports, I was put into everything: dancing, acting, singing. Stage school didn't work out. Still don't have a note in my head, but no, the nursery was where what really stuck with me. So Gaelic football and camogie for a few years. That didn't last. Soccer took off a bit as well. But I've always been sport mad. So I'm still on today.
So what's the first memory of your sporting love? What is it back in Lucan Sarsfields? What's the very first memory you have of picking up a football or a hurl?
Oh, probably back in the nursery, I think. Like I remember we'd obviously do the nursery, but we'd be at the hurling wall. I don't know if you know the hurling wall. That's where we used to do the camogie, and I remember the slitters being this big. And now that was only for a few years, so that's where it all started off. I had a hurl, and I only was slagging my mum about this there a couple of weeks ago about the hurl I had. It was my dad's insulation tape wrapped around it, and more insulation tape at the bottom, and it was the silliest looking boss you'd ever have in a hurl. But that was that, and then went back a few years later and got proper into the Gaelic football. So that would have been, I think it was in primary school, and we had a teacher called Mr. Ellis. He was from Carlow, and every time we played mini leagues in school, he'd be like, you have to get involved, you have to get in somewhere. So then eventually I was proper in with teams, and from I think probably about under 9s, I think. I don't know exactly. But
let's touch on Mr. Ellis just for a second. It's a team that's been going on through a couple of people that's been on the podcast in this season has been somebody who's influenced them. Now, Mr. Ellis is obviously one that you've just mentioned there. Who's been your influence, let's say, to get you into sports or get you playing camogie or doing drama or whatever else you're going to do? Who's been that big kind of role model, or what people have really pushed you?
I suppose probably you have to say your parents. You don't have to, but I'd like to say my parents here. I suppose they brought me to everything. They never said no. Even when I was horse riding in Kildare, I was brought every Saturday to the equestrian centre for so many years and then when I started complaining, I was pulled out. I wasn't forced to do it. But football was something that I always got brought to. I always loved, kept going every game. Even today, my parents are there at every single game. So I guess their motivation and encouragement has just really stood to me all these years.
When you started playing, did you start out as a goalkeeper? How did the career start?
No, I was never a goalkeeper. So I was obviously outfield with Gaelic football. I played full forward, so I was wearing the square, number 14, and at the same time I would have played soccer, so I was in goals for soccer. But again, I fell into that. So I think I don't know what age we were, and we had to go. There was like a representative team called the MGL, and we went to trials. And I remember I wasn't a great soccer player, like 2 left feet on the soccer pitch. But I remember they asked us, they said, "Is there any goalkeepers here?" And all of their parents were up on the side. It was out in the Oscar Traynor Road, and I remember just looking around and I said, "Me," I put my hand up. And I remember my dad was our soccer manager at the time, so he went up. I remember he had a pair of goalkeeper gloves in the car, so I sent him up to the car. These ripped up Nike, absolutely battered gloves. He went down and he was like, "What is she after doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm after saying I'm going to do the goalkeeping training." 2 weeks later, we got the letter to say I'd made the team. So from that was what I think it was under 12s or 13s. I played then with the MGL until under 14s, 15s, and we won a Gaelic Cup, which is, I don't know, the County Cup equivalent for the women. So that was when I was kind of got serious about goalkeeping, got called into a few of the Ireland squads, camps, and never got further than the initial trial camp. But that's when soccer started getting serious, and then eventually I was playing with the Dublin under-16s at the time, and the goalkeeper, I don't know if she got injured or if she just kind of wasn't able to make the trainings. And one Friday we were trained, or one Wednesday we trained, I was in goals, and then the Friday the team for the game against Kildare got announced, and I was down for number 1. I nearly had a heart attack.
So with, let's say, the Ireland underage trials, what did that environment teach you, let's say, about standards and where you needed to get yourself to excel? Obviously, in that case, it wasn't the case that you got past a certain area. But what did that bring to you that drove you on to go, okay, well, I can do this. I can absolutely do this.
I think we started, so then before the Ireland camps would have been with the Leinster schools. So you got a taste of professionalism and stuff. Like going into training every Saturday, we trained out in some school out in down the south side, part of some German school. But I remember going there and the taste of professionalism. I think it was Mark Skinner or Paul Skinner was one of our coaches, one of our soccer coach, the goalie coach. And I always remember him. It was like the first proper taste of goalkeeping training I ever got. And I just really enjoyed it. I love getting pulled aside, doing the goalkeeping, and then going again. And then eventually the provincial competition came up, but I wasn't the goalkeeper for the tournament. I would have been the substitute. And I got a few appearances throughout the weekend. And then I still got called into the camp. So I was like, if I'm not playing fully and I'm getting invited to the camps, there must be something there for me. So, I like the professionalism and knowing I could get somewhere with, I suppose, my talent. I don't know if you'd say that. But and then obviously I transferred over to the GAA.
And talent, would you say talent's got you to where it is, where you've got to today?
I don't know. I'd like to be a bit of a hard worker, and to be fair, talent only gets you so far. I've heard many people say that. So the more you work, the better you get, and I suppose that's how I've kind of gone the past few years.
So, and you've touched on the last few years just there. To me, it looks like from the outside looking in, an absolute whirlwind. Something that's incredible achievements. That doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen without hard work, without sacrifices. Talk to us about Dublin. Talk to us about Dublin ladies and the amazing success story that has been Dublin ladies over the last 10 years, let's say. I know you've only been involved for a number of those years, but Abby, 2 All-Irelands.
I was going to say it.
2 All-Irelands, incredible. Talk us through what's that experience been like since you first came into the camp under Mick Bowen, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So what was that experience of, let's say, coming into the camp, working with Mick Bowen, and that journey of how you've got to being Dublin's number 1 ladies goalkeeper, which is incredible?
I think you mentioned Mick there. I think he's somebody who's after changing the game for ladies football in Dublin, in Ireland. It's not what it used to be. It's a professional environment. Everything's done right. Since Mick came in, we've gotten the funding. Players are we all just have such a professional way about ourselves, especially a lot of the older players who know what it was like before Mick came in, how tough it was to try to get the backing from county boards and the financial side of things, and even to get training pitches. So I'm blessed that when I joined that squad, and I think my first training session would have been about 2018 with them. 2018. I was 15, I think. 15, I was called in, and Mick used to always text my mum for the training sessions and stuff. But like everything was professional from that moment on. Like so, I got stuck in there. I was behind Ciara Trant, who would have been the goalkeeper at the time, and she was an unbelievable person to have in front of you. Like I learned so much from Ciara. And I entered the dressing room and seen Noelle Healy sitting there, and she was like the player I was obsessed with. Like when I would have been brought to all the LGFA finals beforehand, I just looked up to her so much. Like it was bad being in the changing room with her, and I'd have to let a few of her goals in at the training sessions. You had
to let them in, right? But so like that's it. Going into an elite environment, because that's what it is. At 15 years of age, how do you manage that? How do you mentally, what goes through your head to say, I'm walking into a dressing room, Noelle Healy's here, Mick Bowen is the manager, the dressing room was full of All-Ireland winners. This is an amazing dressing room to go into. How do you mentally manage that?
I don't know. I think I used to stay in the car as long as I could before training sessions, though, because I was too nervous going into the dressing rooms and all them. So we'd arrive probably 40 minutes early, and I'd be like to my mum, let me sit in the car for a few more minutes. And then eventually I'd get out and you'd obviously chat to whoever, but you just listen to everything they said, whether it was like advice on the pitch, maybe it was something about my confidence. I wouldn't have been the most confident player. Like my head used to drop quite easily. But like any advice any of them girls had, I took it straight on board, and I'd like to think like I've carried that advice all the way through to now, like 6 years later. So
confidence is obviously a key thing. I stood in the middle of Croke Park watching Robbie Williams. This was a couple of weeks back, and knowing that this podcast was going to take place, I just took a moment and I looked around a theatre, an arena of such magnitude, of a place. It's very hard to put it into words, the feeling that you get looking around it. And this is at a concert. This is what I was feeling. But in my head, I was thinking, how do you stand in goal? How do you stand in goal with all these eyes looking at you in a pressure pit, is what I would call it. I seen the All-Ireland final as an example. I've seen a lot of games this year. But the goalkeeper is the last line of defence. If you make a mistake, 9 times out of 10 it's going to lead to a goal. How do you manage that pressure playing at such an elite level in such a big arena if something goes wrong? What's the mindset for let's say a kick out goes wrong? What's the mindset for the next one's going to be right? It's
just freest most available option. I'm quoting the goalkeeper coach on this now. Alan, he'd say it always, freest most available option. If the kick out goes wrong, reset mentally. You'd often see me give myself a knock on the head if something goes wrong. I might put my wrist up to my mouth and just wipe my face, something like that. That's what I'd do. And then make sure I get the next one off. Like, I don't know, we played Galway this year in the semi-final, and it was a game I wanted to quickly forget. It was not my best with regards to kickouts, and I remember thinking that has to be the worst you can get. Like, Galway put us under the cosh, and going into the final then, obviously we knew we were up against Meath, and Meath's unbelievable team, some of the strongest players in the country. I knew they were going to come at us, as they did in the Leinster final and other times previous this year. And I remember I had a few conversations with Goldie on our team, Sinead Goldrick, and I felt she had my back no matter what. So I remember she just kind of pushed that confidence into me, even though I knew like the previous games didn't go the way we wanted. I knew once we do everything safe, we'll all work the ball out together. And as a wise man once told me, be a goldfish, forget the previous one. So I'll never dwell on previous mistakes. So.
And you can't. Sure, you can. As a goalkeeper, you can't dwell on mistakes. It's always about the next ball. There's something that somebody's always said to me is play the stats. Play the stats. Make sure that your stats are above what the average should be, and go after that. So, I seen you playing the Galway game. I seen you playing at Croker. And what I admire most about you is your recovery. If something doesn't go your way, I've never noticed you knocking yourself in the head, and I will now. But it's testament to you for somebody so young, that's you're able to recover, you're able to manage under pressure, and you're able to get play your stats. You're able to get the next kick away, which is incredible. Tell me something. Let's say an underrated habit, or an underrated thing that you've done since your teenage years that you've brought through to the Dublin senior panel?
God, I don't know. I'm very superstitious.
Tell me about
I'm
that.
actually very superstitious. I don't know if I've always been superstitious now, but I would be. And I'm superstitious not to the extent where I'd be panicking over something not going the right way, but like just between food, I always have to have the same meals, the same breakfast. Like I want to wake up at the same time. My coffee has to be at the same time. Like I'm just a bit funny. I have to have the same routine for every game, and maybe that's been the case. Even though maybe the routine might have changed somewhat, but I've always had something to stick to.
Yeah.
Maybe since I was younger, so probably my superstitions like that, making sure my routine in the build-up is in order.
Is that routine though something that's obviously worked for you over the years and it's gotten you to this level? You just swear by it, you just go with it. That's and you're going to stick to it forever.
Possibly, yeah. I can switch off in the lead up to a match, and that's how I do it.
You've gone through this journey from, let's say, 15, obviously from younger, but with the Dublin panel from 15. I assume maybe you've missed out on a lot of stuff, let's say your friends are doing because you're training, because you're not allowed to drink alcohol at certain times. What's been the big sacrifice?
You might, say, I'm missing this concert, I can't go on holidays, but at the end of the day, like, it's worth every minute, like, it's worth every concert you miss, and like, whether you have to give the ticket to someone else or you have to miss out on a party or a night out, like, it's well worth it. Like, what did I miss this year? And I'm like, God, like I would never have changed. My cousin's wedding. My cousin got married 2 weeks before the All-Ireland final. I remember texting him when we made it to the semi-final. But I remember texting him, no, I won't be able to go. Hopefully it's worth it. And then he went to him after the match in Croke Park and was like, thank God I missed that wedding. And although I was raging in the moment, I was like, he was even buzzing. Like, he was like, I couldn't care less. Look at you now. Like, so it's just little things like that, maybe the family moments and stuff. And yeah, like I don't really dwell on it missing anything. I don't worry about it. Like I'm enjoying the few months off now, so I'm getting as much in as I can.
Has the elite level of sport, has that shaped certain friendships, whether within the group or outside the group? And have you got friends, let's say now, that you didn't have maybe 7 or 8 years ago that have stuck around with you, supported you, and really pushed you on?
Like I definitely have like 2 of my closest friends I played soccer with all the way up, still play GAA with them now, and they understand. They come to all my games, when they can. They travel the country, and like so they're probably like the 2 that they understand me the most, and they know I can't do the A or B, that like I'm working towards another goal. But then I've loads of friends as well who are just so understanding if I mightn't see them for months because I can't meet them or because of whatever. But then the first thing I ask, how's football? How's this? How's that? Like we're watching you every Saturday or whatever. Like we're keeping an eye on it, so it's just nice. Like everybody's conscious of what you're doing. Like,
is that the conversation every time you meet somebody? Let's say if it's in the club or if it's everyone wants to speak to you about football. Everybody wants to know how you're doing. Is that how the conversation usually goes?
Yeah, it is. To be fair, everybody means well, so you don't mind it at all.
One thing I really want to touch on, it's what we touched on again with a number of people who sat on the podcast, is setbacks. You mentioned Galway this year. You got over the line in the semi-final. Talk to us about the year before and getting knocked out early, and what the mindset was like then to rebuild. What resilience did you have to build up when you got through, when it went to extra time? When Hannah Tyrrell kicked that last 10-second free kick to level the game up in normal time, did you take anything from the year before and bring it into this year's championship?
I think the one thing in 2024, we didn't brush the surface of how good we could have been. And we still brought them to extra time, and we lost by the kick of a ball, a goal I think it was, or 2 points. And then when you come to this year, and I remember actually going into the game this year, kind of ironically, I remember thinking, geez, I only lost 1 kick out in that game against Galway in 2024. So I remember going in with that bit of confidence, saying, right, I've done well before, now I can bring my part and everybody else will bring their part. But obviously the kick-outs didn't go to plan. But obviously then, as you said, when you see the likes of Hannah Tyrrell step it up, no better person to stand at the edge, near the arc, near the 2-point line, to stick that score, which essentially got us through to extra time. And then obviously the few goals we got and the few extra points got us through to the final, which was great. So we didn't want to go out saying we were getting revenge on Galway, but deep down I'd say we all knew we wanted to get another one upon them.
So another thing, as goalkeepers are always very hard on themselves, always. You won that game with 3 points in the end against Galway after extra time. And I remember, I think it was 10 minutes into the first half. If memory serves me right, there was a big save. You pulled off a big save. Do people forget sometimes that goalkeeping is about obviously keeping the ball out of the net as well as just being let's say a quarterback, and how you're into your NFL, but a quarterback's like distributing the ball across the pitch. Do people sometimes forget that you actually, I'm in goal, have to keep a clean sheet or have to try and keep the ball out of the net too?
Probably, I'd say we're all guilty of it though. Like at the end of the day, the first stat you look at is your kickouts, what you won, what you lost. So like maybe if you do make a few saves, they're remembered. But if you only make that one save, you might forget about it as quick. I think I was real hard on myself after that game, and someone did remind me when I got home. Like you won by, as I said, 3 points. That kind of went in. It was a different game. You do have to remember the goods like that.
What changes for you, especially on the big days, psychologically? Is your mindset different on, let's say, a league game in Parnell Park or versus an All-Ireland final in Croke Park? What's the difference in mindset? Or is that routine constant flow? Is everything still the same?
It's as constant as it can get, I'd say. I'd be quite a nervy person going out to all games, like club games, any Dublin game, challenge games. Like I'm constantly trying to hit my highest standards. So I'm playing against myself essentially. Like it can only be as bad as I have been. You know what I mean? So I want to always better myself. So I'd say mindset is always the same. Obviously, when you're going into an All-Ireland final, you know what's on the line. You're happy to be there, but you're hungry for more.
When you get to Croker, you're in the tunnel. What's the routine from that tunnel to walk behind that band? And how, again, I keep asking, how do you manage things? For me, I look at it, it's inspiring to see. I seen you and the team walking behind the band in Tullamore, and then again at Croker, and it's goosebump stuff. It's hair on the back of the neck stuff, and it's. If it was me personally, I don't think I could manage it. I think it'd send me over the edge. What's your routine though from when you leave that tunnel, get behind the band? What are you thinking mentally on that?
God, well, the first thing is when you're doing that sprint from the Hogan stand out to the picture, you just don't want to floor yourself. You don't want to know how fast the girls actually run when they do that sprint. It's very quick. But no, you just want to make sure you get a good warm up in. It's all about that warm up for me. Whether it's if it's not the best warm up, I'll just think, right, your first touch of the ball, it's gonna be grand. And then obviously, I remember in 2023 doing that parade. We had done the parade in Semple Stadium, the semi-final before, and that parade then in Croke Park, I think there was, I can't remember how many, it was 40,000 in Croke Park, and I remember I think the whole Cusack stand was full, and I remember we lined up, and I was like, oh, geez, I'm behind the Artane Boys band, and this is a pretty big deal, this is deadly, my first All-Ireland. Nobody, odds were against us, everybody wanted or expected Kerry to win. We were a young team, we had new players coming in, we had players who just left. So I felt like we had nothing to lose that year. Although obviously, as I said, you want to be at the top. And doing that parade, I remember it was so loud, and I was trying to look around, but I also wanted to make sure I looked somewhat focused, but I did get a bit giddy. And as we came back around to the Hogan stand, I was looking, I was like, where's my mum, where's my dad?
That's your safe place then, is it? If you see your mum and dad in the crowd, that's it, it's kind of right.
Yeah, I'm happy I see them then. And then, even if I don't see them, I know they're there, but it is a bit of a bonus when you can spot them. I remember, even in, where's Tullamore this year, I could see them and my friends were all standing up waving, and I was like, there they are. I know they're there.
I'm good. So you mentioned there are 40,000 people at a game as an example. What's your in-game management like when you're speaking to the team? Can you hear? Can you communicate directly with your team? How does that normally work?
I remember before that final in 2022, I remember just being told I think that was Ciara Translate texted it. I just asked her what's the story with the noise levels on All-Ireland final. She's like, you won't be able to hear a thing. I was like, great, how are we going to communicate on the pitch? And it was literally just you're either screaming at each other frantically, but obviously trying to keep things calm as possible. But it's loud, and I wouldn't want to know, or I'd love to know what it's like being in front of 80,000, the lads would be on All-Ireland final. Just imagine it's mad.
It's coming.
Fingers crossed, next 2 years. Fingers crossed.
One moment in Croke Park that you'll one day relate to your grandkids, what would stick in your mind? And One moment that you'd change.
Ooh, that's a great one. Maybe final whistle against Kerry, maybe, where I just collapsed to my knees. Like I remember just kind of like that was my first year proper being like wearing that number 1 jersey, and like the start of the year you don't expect it. Like I was nearly going on a J1 that summer, to be honest. So when that happened, I just couldn't believe it. Like I was just an emotional wreck, tears. And Emer, the other goalkeeper, ran on the pitch and she lifted me and she was just like, we just like embraced each other for like 30 seconds, and it was like the most special moment. And I'll probably always think of that when I'm remembering like the 2023 All Ireland. So that'd be something like, yeah, just that game in general, like having my first experience at All Ireland final day.
Anything you'd redo? Anything you'd change?
What do you do? Oh God, I don't know.
And you don't have to give an answer.
I don't know. I
think most of the times you played in Croke Park have been good times, so you probably haven't changed too much, would you?
Yeah, no, we've been. I think I have a good record so far. Touch wood.
You touched on let's say leaders in the group. You mentioned Hannah Tyrrell as an example, and there's a number of leaders stepping away from the group there this year. Do you see yourself now, Abby, as even though you're 23?
Yeah, 23.
You're 23. Do you see yourself going into the new campaign next year as actually I'm stepping up again next year? I've won an All Ireland twice. I've won an All Star. I've been nominated for another All Star. Those accolades are stacking up, which is amazing. Do you see yourself as your role changing within the group?
I don't know. Like I definitely I've gotten more experience, so I do feel like I could be, more of, I suppose, a leader than I have been maybe. And I suppose as a goalkeeper, you're just a natural leader. You're, as I said earlier, the last line of defence. Like you know where you want your people, like where you want your defence. And then like if anybody has any questions, needs any advice, especially as younger people do come through, like I'm always happy to give it, and I'd like to think I guide them the right way, hopefully.
Good. When we're talking about younger people as well, your profession then will be helping young people with education then as well. Talk to us about how do you manage your footballing career as well as teaching, as well as your, let's say, your private life then as well on top of it. How do you manage all of that?
Yeah, well, the teaching holidays are a great help. But no, I'm only qualified this year, so I'm only out in my first year, working as a secondary teacher now, and starting a new school. And to be fair, we put out for the football team in the school there last week, and straight away the kids were coming in the next day saying, "But you play for Dublin, you're going to be coaching us." And I was like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "We'll be good. Like we'll have a go at it this year." And they're buzzing now. So like it's useful. Like I think they both balance each other.
Do you find, is it difficult to manage, let's say, being a teacher, that people come in, they look up to you and they're going, that's Miss Shiels, she plays for Dublin. Do you get that a bit in school?
You would a little bit, like one or two maybe girls throughout. So and then word travels around, and some of them who maybe never touched football are getting excited, thinking you're famous. And I think one of the kids said to me this week, "I'm not famous."
You will be after this podcast.
I catch balls and kick them. That's about it.
What's the best bit of advice, I suppose, you could give to a young person or somebody who would want to be in your shoes one day, that might be picking up a football for the first time, or a teenager just getting into sport, no matter what it might be? What would be your advice to them?
I've heard it's been said probably 100 times, stick at it. Like, keep going, no matter, it might be a Tuesday evening, lashing rain out, you don't want to go. Once you get there, you have to crack. You're playing the sport you love, you're doing whatever. Like, team sports are so important as you get older. Like, all my friends now are from my teams that I played with over the years. So important. And I know what they say, like, the dropout rate between, I think, 14 and 16 for girls is just like, it's not great. So any kind of campaigns they get going, it's like so important to keep girls in sports. And that obviously goes for lads as well. Like, just keep going and just like keep encouraging yourself.
Would you say that's the same advice that you would give to a 14-year-old Abby Shiels?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'd say no matter, if you feel a bit deflated at the end of a week in school, maybe when you were in school, you'd just look back and say, look where you are now, like, thank God you kept going. And I'm glad I kept going. Not that I ever really wanted to quit, but maybe when, like, every Friday night when I was training at the MGL, when my friends were going to the Lucan Sarsfields discos, I was like, oh, I'm missing these. But now I'm glad of it now. Very glad of it.
Absolutely. But look, I think when you look back, if your career was to end tomorrow, Abby, if you were to look back and everything you've achieved, there's there's players all over the country who would kill for what you've achieved so far in your career. I know it's going to go further. We touched on again kids getting into sports, parents get involved with that as well. My question here would be, what would you be telling parents or teachers or coaches not to say to kids, something that they shouldn't be saying to kids, rather than stuff that they would push on them? What would you say? Look, encourage them on. What would you say not to say to them?
It's just the encouragement. Like, keep the encouragement. Don't put the pressure on them. Keep the encouragement. Motivate them in the right way. Like, you hear enough stories about the parents on the sideline and, you know, saying the wrong things, and the kids are then getting a hard time from other kids. So it's just how you are on the sideline that's the most important thing. Like, don't be like too hard on them. Let them enjoy it. Then if they enjoy it that much, if they're good at it, then they'll develop themselves and they'll keep going.
Is there anything that you change, let's say the pathway through for kids coming, girls or boys, the pathway coming through from, let's say, club football up to let's say inter-county or any underage level up? Is there anything you change?
I don't know. Like, it's a good question actually, because like structures are constantly changing in like the GAA and LGFA, and then in a few years please God there'll be the one. I don't know. Like, it's all well put together, I think, and as parents get involved and manage teams, they have to do more courses, so they're getting more educated on the sport and stuff. So I think it's in a good place at the moment.
Okay.
That's
good.
I think it is.
That's good. I want to know next year. We're jumping into next year already. But is there anything that you're looking at next year with your football career that scares you a little bit? That you're looking at going, I'm going to get outside the comfort zone a bit more even, and it's scaring you enough to get you outside of that comfort zone. Is there anything that you're looking at next year?
I don't know. I want to keep going. Like, the team is so competitive at the moment. Like, I'm never safe. We have great goalkeepers coming through, so I'm just constantly trying to better myself.
So Ciara Trent is ahead of you. You were chasing her. You got there eventually. You got that number 1 jersey. As you said there, there's goalkeepers coming up behind you. What are you going to do to make sure that number 1 jersey is stuck to your back?
Just keep the standards high in the goalkeeping union, as we call it. Like I know, Ciara stepped away. If she had still been around, how long would it have taken me to eventually get there? I don't know. So it was all just about kind of how hard I worked and how hard I will continue to work now for next year. Like, as I said, there's great talent coming through the minors. We had a great goalkeeper in last year from the minors, Katie. She was brilliant, pushed me on so much, like beyond, like she was flying the whole year. So it's just important that I keep pushing myself on, and whoever else is there, letting them push me on and making me be the best I can be. Yeah. In
terms of supports that you're getting, Abby, is there any, let's say, sponsors that look after you that have been a great help to you over the years then as well?
I wear the Precision gloves. I'll get that in there. We're Precision, and they were the first brand to probably reach out to me, and to be fair to them, like, Justine looks after me so well, always making sure I'm kitted out, and like, it was cool, like, to actually get your gloves, you know, given to you, and they're the best in the business, to be fair to them. Like, they're all over the GAA, all the ladies keepers, most of them wear them, most of the men keepers wear them, so like, it's great to have such a big brand making sure that I'm sorted and wanting to be involved with me.
Absolutely. Well, look, it's paying off. If you see the let's say the goalkeeper that they backed a number of years ago to where the goalkeeper you've become now, it's paying off. But that support is obviously, it's really important. Think of this, and if you can think this far ahead, you're 85. You're sitting on your couch drinking a coconut flat white.
When you order.
With a lovely latte art and a leaf design on the top of it. What has Abby achieved?
I'm hungry for more right now. So I'd like to think there's something else there. But obviously, delighted with what we have to date. So like the 2 All-Irelands, like, never would have thought. Like, I remember after the 2023 All-Ireland, I was going through my camera roll, and there was a picture of me at the homecoming in 2011, at the lads' homecoming. I was wearing a full kit, had a lovely Arnott's rain windbreaker on me, had a flag, had my headband around me, and I was standing up on a lamppost, and my granny was there, and I'm there waving at them. Like, think now from 2011 when that historic win happened against Kerry, like that I'd have beaten Kerry in the All-Ireland final, gone on to win another one. It's crazy. So like as happy as I am with them, obviously we always want more.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's, as I said, you've 2 All-Ireland finals, 2 All-Ireland winners' medals. If we talk about, let's say, Stephen Cluxton, just as an example, with the lads, and I think word has it now that he's officially retired.
I think so, yeah.
Do you look at, let's say, Stephen as something that you can eclipse, that's somebody that you can go and chase down in terms of All-Ireland winners' medals? I know he's been around for probably 70 years now at this stage, but that was a joke. But if you look at it, you're young enough, you're good enough, the team is good enough. I know you've got some leaders stepping away, but you've got some incredible talent coming through then as well. Is that something you can go and you can think, actually, there's nothing, I want 10 All-Irelands. I want to get to that level. Is that something you ever think of?
I would love 10 All-Irelands. 10 Celtic crosses in the back pocket would be nice. Like, Cluxton's unbelievable. Like, when you look, I think I seen the stat today, like, he played with people who made their debut in 1988 and people who made their debut in 2025. I was like, God, that's something else. But no, I think as like, I keep going back to like ladies football as a whole, it's so much more competitive than it once was. Like, you don't have Cork winning it every year for 9 years straight, or I think even when Waterford started out, they won a couple of years. Like, Dublin only have 2011, I think, or 2010, I can't remember, and then the 4 in a row, or the 4 in a row, God, I'm terrible. And then the 2 we had recently, like, so 17, 18, 19, 20, yeah, 23 and 25, yeah, 7 All-Irelands that Dublin have. So I don't know, like, it's something you'd want, but it's, again, I'm not complaining that the level of competitiveness is getting higher. Yeah.
Roy Keane said something about the 1999 Champions League final. He was asked about his winner's medal, and he was asked, what did he think of it? He said, I didn't win anything. Nothing to do. No, didn't win anything. He played 13 games that year, didn't make the final. You're part of a panel as well that won an All-Ireland final. I've mentioned a few times you've won 2 All-Ireland medals, but you've actually, and as part of a panel, you've won 3. What's your mindset on that? Is it a case, do you think, I didn't play a game, I didn't start, or wasn't involved, but was part of the panel? Is that something that you kind of, you're in your mindset, you have to be playing to deserve an All-Ireland? Is that something that you think?
I think back to that year, to 2019, when I wore an outfielder jersey for that match. Like, I was in the panel through somebody getting injured, so I was part of the extended panel, and someone got injured, and I was given a jersey, and it was a great honour to actually run out into Croke Park that year. I think there was 56,000 at the match, so running out to that wall of sound out of the tunnel was unbelievable. But then I'd say I was part of that All-Ireland win, like, with the training and stuff. But yeah, I never really say that it's one of my medals, to be fair. I don't have the physical medal, so I guess I look at it like that.
And again, when that happened, you ran out, you're into Croker. What does that bring to you? But it's obviously drove you on. You got a taste for it. Would you say Mick Bowen knew what he was doing by having you in the panel that day, whether it was an outfield player's jersey or not? Did he obviously had a plan for you that one day you would be where you are, and you drove on. Did that give you a big taste for it?
Yeah, I think, like, Mick backed me from whatever 2018, and to bring me in that early, like, he saw something in me. He said, it feels weird to say that about myself, but he saw something in me and he wanted me to develop as a player. And then obviously when 2019 came around, he probably saw it as an opportunity to just get me even more involved. Like, he rang my mum that week to say, Abby will be, I think I was 17, so he couldn't bring me. So he rang my mum to say that I'll be in through injury or whatever, and I'll be in the programme, I'll have a jersey. And my mum told me, I remember, and I was absolutely buzzing, thought that was class. Dublin were going for 2 in a row, 2019, their 3rd ever All-Ireland against Galway in a really low scoring game, but God, we celebrated it on the pitch after. It was class. It was really cool to be part of it all.
Incredible. Well, I'm going to finish on this, Abby, and it's something that I wrote down here. My legacy is that a girl from Lucan can see me and know space.
I know I'm part of a Dublin team. I know it sounds boring, but a lot, like, as a girl from Lucan, even when I was younger, seeing Ali Toomey part of the Dublin, like Camogues, and if I ever seen her up at the club. Now I played with Ali like in on my football team, but when I first came into the senior football team in Lucan, I'm like, oh, that's Ali Toomey, like she's played Dublin Camogie, and Dublin Camogie haven't gotten half the recognition like they deserve, but I still knew who she was. Her name was up on the team sheets all the time. Same with Emma Flanagan, like Flano, being involved with Dublin for all these years. Like I just used to be buzzing to be around them. So I'd like to think that young girls might feel the same way towards me as they come into the Lucan senior team that I'll probably be paying for the next 30 years. So yeah, no, something like that, definitely, just to know that I'm part of a Dublin team. Yeah.
Incredible. Abby, on that note, you've tapped in, you have spoke out. I'm absolutely buzzed to have you on the podcast. I wish you nothing but success.
Thank you very much.
And to the Dublin ladies team and management, nothing but success for next season and for the next 10 seasons. I'm a firm believer, and I mean this. So I hope someday somebody comes back to this podcast and says, well, she got to 10, because I really believe that you and that team can get there. Might be a big challenge. Challenges are there to go on.
How long do we have?
Exactly. So, well, it's not like close to the time when you're 60. So, yeah. So, Abby, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thanks so much.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, Megan.